You know that incredibly frustrating feeling, don't you? Where you've like studied English for years, you can read it, write it, you understand pretty much everything you hear, but then the moment comes when you actually need to speak. Silence. Your mind just goes blank. Well, today we're doing a deep dive into exactly that challenge. It's super common. We're pulling our insights from some really powerful excerpts from Speak English Now, Overcoming Fear, and Building Fluency. Okay, so our mission here is to really help unlock your speaking potential. We want to break down those mental blocks, help shift your thinking a bit, and give you some practical, like immediate habits you can start using. Today, this isn't just about understanding the problem, it's about the tools to actually beat it. Okay, let's unpack this.
Yeah, it's such a common scenario. You might be listening right now thinking, yep, that is definitely me. Maybe you've put in, countless hours on vocab, on grammar. You watch English movies, maybe without subtitles even. You read articles. But then when you get a chance to speak, all that knowledge just seems to, vanish.
Yeah.
This deep dive is really built to help you bridge that specific gap, moving from just knowing it passively to confident, active speaking.
Right. As we were looking through the source material, this one central paradox really jumped out. They call it the biggest problem. You know English, but you don't speak it. And you probably recognize that feeling, right? That little flutter of nervousness. Or maybe doing mental gymnastics, trying to translate every single word in your head before you say it. Or maybe just worrying so much about grammar that you end up, avoiding speaking entirely. It's kind of isolating, isn't it? Knowing the language but feeling like you can't use it when it counts.
And what's really helpful here is how the authors break down why this actually happens. They give 5 core reasons. The first one is pretty straightforward.
Yeah.
It's the fear of making mistakes. That little voice going, what if I say something wrong? But the truth is, and the source really hammers this home, everyone makes mistakes, even native speakers. It's just a really normal, important part of learning.
Okay, that's a big one. What's next?
Second, and this is a huge hurdle for a lot of people, it's thinking in your native language. So whether that's Hindi or Spanish or anything else, as the source points out, you're trying to translate every thought, every sentence in your head first. And that whole internal process, it just leads to delay, confusion, hesitation. It really messes with your fluency.
The translation trap.
Exactly. Then the third reason is simply a lack of speaking practice. The book uses a great analogy for this. Speaking is like a muscle.
Right.
If you don't use it, it gets weak. Simple as that. You've got to activate it regularly to build up that strength and fluidity.
Makes sense, like going to the gym for your tongue.
Kind of. And fourth, many of us get caught overthinking grammar. We stop ourselves mid-sentence, checking verb tenses, prepositions. But all that self-correction, it completely breaks the flow. Speaking isn't an exam, right? It's about getting your message across.
Good reminder. Okay, and the fifth one?
And the fifth one ties it all together. A lack of confidence. You might feel embarrassed. Maybe you're worried people will judge you or laugh. But honestly, most people, they really admire you for trying. They appreciate the effort it takes to learn and speak another language.
Yeah, it's amazing how those all seem to connect and feed each other. That fear, the translation, the lack of practice, it creates a cycle. Okay, so once we understand why it happens, the material then shifted to something, I think even more profound, a really fundamental change in how we think about speaking. Here's where it gets really interesting. The source talks about this crucial mindset shift. Speak first, fix later. It uses these really vivid analogies like you don't learn to swim just by reading a book about it. You don't learn cycling by only watching videos. You learn by actually doing it. It's all about action.
Exactly. And if you connect that to English speaking, it means becoming fluent isn't about, reaching some theoretical perfection before you open your mouth. It's about building the habit of speaking daily, without that fear, without constantly stopping yourself. The core idea is so simple, but it feels revolutionary. Speak now. Improve while you're speaking.
Okay, but that raises the big question, doesn't it? How do we actually start doing that? Especially when that fear feels so real.
Right. How do you take that first step?
So what does this all mean for you listening right now?
Well, the good news is the source gives us 5 incredibly easy, actionable speaking habits, things you can really integrate into your day, starting like right now. These are small, consistent steps. They're designed to train your tongue and your brain to just get more comfortable with English. Okay, let's walk through them. First up, mirror practice. Just 5 minutes a day. Stand in front of a mirror, look yourself in the eye, and just talk. Talk about anything. Your day, how you're feeling, your plans. For example, you could just say out loud, "Hi, my name is Brige. I work in a bank. Today was busy. I had lunch at 2 p.m." Something simple. It sounds a bit strange, maybe, but it's surprisingly powerful for building confidence, fluency, and even just, self-awareness about how you sound.
5 minutes in the mirror. Got it. What's number 2?
Second is speak your routine in English. So as you're going about your day, doing normal things, just softly talk about what you're doing, even just to yourself. You could say, I am brushing my teeth, or now I am making tea, or I will go to work now, or just observing, oh, it's raining outside. The key is just constantly engaging your brain with English, even in those quiet, everyday moments.
Like narrating your own life, but quietly. Okay.
Exactly. Third, talk to voice assistants. Use your Google Assistant, Alexa, Siri, whatever you have. They are brilliant, non-judgmental practice partners.
That's true.
Ask them questions in English, like, what's the weather today? Or tell me a joke, or play some English songs. This gives you confidence because you're interacting, you're using the language, and you get real-time feedback on your pronunciation and clarity, but without any pressure from a person.
That's a really clever one.
Okay.
Fourth,
think about joining speaking WhatsApp or Telegram groups. The source really highlights how valuable these communities can be. You can record short audio messages, maybe join voice chats, or just practice 1 or 2 lines a day with other learners. Crucially, everyone in these groups is in the same boat. They're all learning, so there's this great sense of, shared experience and much less fear.
Safety in numbers, kind of, makes sense.
Yeah.
And the last one?
And finally, number 5. Use English in daily life whenever you can. Just speak simple, common phrases out loud. Things you probably already know, like good morning, or I'll call you later, can you help me, thank you so much, or no problem, I'll do it. The more you actually vocalize these everyday bits of language, the more natural they start to feel. It helps English become just, part of your routine.
Those all sound really practical, actually, like things you could genuinely start doing tomorrow or even today. It makes me wonder, though, does the source suggest if any of these are, harder to stick with than others, or if some give quicker results?
That's a good question. It doesn't rank them exactly, but it kind of implies that the internal shifts, things like the mirror practice or speaking your routine, those can feel maybe a bit awkward or daunting at first, but they're often the ones that build that internal comfort the fastest. Whereas the external ones, like talking to Siri or joining groups, they directly build confidence in actual interaction. So they all have their place.
Right, attacking the problem from different angles.
Okay.
Now, let's circle back to something you mentioned earlier, that translation issue. The source calls it a major fluency killer. Stop translating in your head. They give that example, right? If you think in Hindi, main office jarahono, and then you try to translate it word by word, you end up with that really slow, hesitant, I go to .office.
Yeah.
That delay, it doesn't just make you hesitate, it can totally derail the conversation.
It's such a critical point, and it's a habit that's really, really hard for many people to break. So the key solution, the source is very clear on this, is you need to start thinking in English.
Okay, but how? That sounds difficult.
It sounds big, but you start small, really small. You don't need to dive into complex philosophical thoughts immediately. When you see a chair, just think the word, or say it softly. This is a chair. When you feel hungry, think, I'm hungry. If you're bored, think or say softly, this is boring. The goal here isn't just speaking after translating, it's training your brain to actually form the thoughts in English in the first place.
Okay. Train the brain first. Start small. I like that. And to give you a bit of an immediate boost, the source actually provides some really neat practice scripts. These are designed for you to literally speak out loud right now if you can, or later today. Don't stress about perfection. Just try saying them, even quietly to yourself. So, for talking about yourself, try this one. Hi, my name is Raj. I live in Delhi. I work in IT. I love reading books and watching movies. I want to improve my English. Just reading it out loud helps. Okay, how about talking about your day? Try. I woke up at 7. I took a shower. I made tea. I had breakfast with my sister. Then I went to work. Simple, right? And one more for talking about plans. Tomorrow, I will visit my uncle. In the evening, I will watch a film. On Sunday, I'll clean my room.
And, to really show how powerful these simple habits can be, the source shares this great, really inspiring story. It's about Vivek, the silent student. So Vivek was apparently excellent at writing English, great at reading it. But when it came to speaking in class, he just froze completely. He was terrified of being judged,
I can imagine.
But then one day, he just decided to commit. He started doing that mirror speaking every single morning, and then he started recording his voice, listening back, and just gently correcting himself, not beating himself up, just noticing. And after just 3 months of doing this consistently every day, He gave his first ever English presentation in college.
Wow, that's incredible. 3 months.
Yeah. And Vivek's quote, which really sums up the whole point of this deep dive, I think, is, "I still make mistakes, but I no longer stay silent." It just perfectly shows the transformation that comes from that consistent effort, even with mistakes.
That's such a powerful story. It really hits home. That speak first, fix later idea.
Hmm.
Okay, so to help you listening integrate this right now, let's try some immediate speaking practice. These have fill in the blanks. Just complete them mentally or say them out loud if you can. Ready? First one, my name is Noise. I live in, I work, study in, my English is improving. Just fill those in for yourself. Okay, next. Today I woke up at Noise I had for breakfast. Then I like. And one more. I like because I want to learn English because.
And as you practice these, or really any sentences, try recording your voice. Use your phone, it's easy. Then listen back to it. It might feel a bit weird at first, but it gives you instant feedback. You get to notice your speed, your clarity, maybe where you hesitated, and most importantly, you'll hear your improvement over time. It's a fantastic self-coaching tool. Really builds confidence.
Yeah, that recording piece seems key. Okay, so as we start to pull all these threads together, the source kind of boils it down to 10 golden rules.
Yeah.
Think of these less like rigid rules and more like your daily framework. For building that courage and consistency, let's run through them quickly. 1, speak. Even if it's broken, just speak. 2, don't be afraid of mistakes. They're actually essential. 3, practice daily. Mirror, self-talk, whatever works for you. 4, train your brain think in English, not your native tongue. 5, use simple words. You don't need fancy vocabulary to communicate. 6, speak it aloud, not just silently in your head.
Yeah.
Engage those vocal cords.
Get it out there.
7, record your voice, listen back. 8, join speaking groups, find your community. 9, watch, listen, and repeat English phrases you hear around you. And finally, 10, be proud. Be proud of every little bit of progress you make. So if there's one single thought to take away from this whole deep dive, let it be this really powerful reminder from the source material. If you wait for perfect English, you'll never speak. Okay, the call to action is right here, right now, for you. Start today. Use the words you have, even if they feel messy or imperfect. Speak that broken English proudly, slowly, softly, whatever it takes. But please, just speak.
Absolutely, because as the source concludes so well, fluency is not a gift, it's a habit. It's something you build piece by piece, word by word, day after day. It comes from that consistent effort. So embrace that journey, start building that habit, and maybe think about this as you begin to speak more, even these small steps. What new conversations might open up for you? What new connections could you make? And how might this foundational step of just starting to speak prepare you for really understanding and responding in those real-time interactions you maybe thought were impossible before?